fancy buttons.
Your fancy buttons made us mute.
TP show.
What did you forget to do?
I forgot to hit the record button.
Woohoo! TP show.
I need my enema.
I'm gonna randomly babble for a bit.
Woohoo! TP show.
Let's do the surprise for you, and you'll know right away
now?
what it is.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
let's just do it. We're there.
Yeah. No, we are. Let me just get to the right spot. Gonna put it on screen.
Yeah. You know exactly what this is now.
I do, and I've already seen it, believe it or not.
Oh.
Yep.
One day I pick up my phone.
I actually saw this one day about a week ago. So for anybody in the studio audience that doesn't know what this is, so during the pandemic, everybody was locked down. Shocker, everybody knows that one. But there's a girl in London, she's a drummer, and she's 11, and she's amazing, and her name is Mandy, and she challenged Dave Grohl via the internet, and Dave Grohl accepted the challenge, and they had this back and forth, and they finally met like a few months ago or something like that. And then, of course, now that Dave Grohl can go back out on concert, ba-boom, he brings her out to play a song. Have you seen her play, by the way? She's
Oh yeah, she's
freaking
fantastic.
phenomenal.
And
so
I
there's
thought
Mandy.
she was nervous throughout all this,
Yes.
but she's not at
No.
all.
No, she's a star. She's like a rock star. She's like, yes, I finally get on stage. So that's Mandy. And then I want to hear her playing, even though we'll get the copyright strike.
Oh, she's still good.
Oh, yeah, she starts the song off, too. So go ahead,
I
start
don't
playing,
care
Mandy.
if we get a copyright strike
Yeah.
for this. This is worth it.
Hit it.
It's hard to believe that Mint Mobile can be good.
Ryan
Just
Reynolds,
15
what did you
bucks.
do?
I would have
As
changed it
Mint
if it
Fuel
wasn't Ryan
Ryan
Reynolds. I love
Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. And we're going to watch his Mint commercial because he's the best. Like, if it was anybody else, we'd be hitting that skip button right now. But it's Ryan Reynolds. He's a friend of the show, even though he's never been here.
We're doing you a favor. So why don't you do us a favor? You come on the show.
Come on by.
And
We'll
you
talk
can
about
only-
we'll talk about your football team. We'll talk about your liquor company, and we'll talk your gin, and we'll
Cell
talk about
phone.
your telephone company. I got no problems with any of the
and
three.
movies. Like, you just come on. If you just want to come on here and like ignore us the whole time, just do it.
Yeah, we're not going to keep this one going though. And we're out of here
No.
as soon as they give me a button. Woo! Oh, I thought she started it off. I was wrong.
She kind of does.
This part right here slays me. Holy
Foo
crap!
Fighters are like legit. Like Dave Grohl just has so much talent. Like, oh my god.
It's funny because I was watching him in an interview recently, and he says they don't like to practice because then they feel like when they're live that they
it's all
aren't-
reversed. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Because Nirvana was practiced. Like, Nirvana, like Cobain told him what to do and what not to do. You can't do this. You can't do that.
well, I mean,
And
it
then-
was his band. Dave
Right.
Grohl was like drummer number 5 or drummer number 6 in Nirvana. So it's not like he was in the band from the start. It's it's a Ringo Starr situation. Although Ringo Starr was only the second drummer. But what was the last thing? What was the last thing that the drummer said before he was kicked out of the band? It's a classic joke. I have a song for you guys. No,
But
normally
I do know-
drummers are always ignored.
Right. The first Foo Fighters album, it was all Dave Grohl.
Oh yeah.
Every
oh
instrument.
yeah. He did everything. He played all the instruments.
Yep.
The dude's insane. He's been in multiple Tenacious D things. Like
Oh,
he's been
yes,
in multiple
100%.
things with those guys. He played the devil in their video and the movie, I think too. The Pick of Destiny.
So when I talk about like Tom Petty to my kids, they're gonna be like Dave Grohl to their kids.
I agree,
like, hey.
1000%.
Yeah.
I agree. Oh, 1000%. Yeah, and what's interesting or hard or difficult is that once an artist passes away, like, so Prince is a good example.
Yes.
Like Prince, megastar. Like nobody, like Tom Petty was a megastar as well. I mean, he was in a whole slew of different like offshoot bands as well.
He was in Postman too, yeah.
Yeah.
Like he was an actor too, yeah.
By comparison, though, like I would put Prince at like a different level. You know what I mean? Like when Tom Petty would show up to places, people weren't like, "Dude, it's Tom Petty. Everybody be quiet." But like when Prince would show up places, people would be like, "Shut the f up! It's Prince." You know what I mean?
Right.
So different levels of fame, in my opinion. That's I guess I'm more of a Prince fan, and I like Tom Petty a lot.
No,
I guess where I'm going with it is jump forward 15 years because Prince has passed, and there is going to be a large segment of the population that's going to be like, who?
Well,
Who?
you know what's weird about that? Like, there's kids in college right now that don't remember like 9/11 because they weren't they were like one or
my partner's son literally was born months before 9/11. Like, and so he remembers 9/11 because everybody talked about it for the first 3 years of his birth, but wasn't a thing for him. Like, he didn't watch it hit the tower. He wasn't listening to Stern while Stern's on the air, kind of thing. But yeah, I agree 100%.
It's weird.
And the other thing, the reason we're bringing up 9/11 is because we're recording this on 9/13, so 9/11 was only a couple days ago. My dad's birthday is actually 9/15. He's passed, but his birthday would have been in 2 days, and he would have been 95, 94.
Oh, wow.
But what was I going to say? 9/11 was one of those. You know, the other one for me, I think you're old enough, but Space Shuttle Challenger, the Challenger disaster? No? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But you were probably like 4 or 5 or something. Like, you were probably...
I remember seeing that in school, but I don't remember much about it.
Yeah, that was... So, I was a big MTV fan. I used to watch a lot of MTV. And the beginning of MTV's intro was dun, da, 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 and then a rocket would take off. Like, it would be a literal rocket, right? So, Challenger disaster happens, and literally the next day, dun, da, 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 no rocket. They had to completely change the promo, like, the next day. Like, and I get it. I mean, the Challenger disaster was horrible. All caused because an O-ring popped. And we talked all the way through Foo Fighters. I feel bad now for Mandy.
It's okay.
Nandy. I think it's Nandy. I think it's with an N, but I could be wrong.
Mandy? I don't know.
I don't know either. She's from England.
Rock.
She's from the UK, and she can play some drums. She's an amazing drummer. So, that was a good surprise. I appreciate that one. And if I hadn't seen it, I would have been over the moon. I would have been like, shut up, I'm watching this. But I literally have watched it 4 times already. That's why I think I talked through it. The one that I watched, actually, though, and I hadn't seen this one, I watched it from her dad or mom's point of view. Because they have a dad or mom video where the dad and the mom are in the back, and they walk up with her, and they're like filming her. And she walks up on stage, and they're filming from behind stage. And I'll tell you right now, backstage, horrible seats. Horrible seats. They're not good.
I bet,
Too good. Too good. The real drummer came out and threw his sticks like, I have sticks to throw. You better pay attention to me. Okay, so what do you think he just said? I know what he just said.
What? Okay.
That was real drummer from Foo Fighters talking to Nandy.
Yes.
What do you think he said?
You have my job when you get a little older.
Oh, I thought he went totally like psycho hardcore the other way. You're not taking my job, little girl. I will take you out. You're not taking my job. See, he's still talking. No, seriously, you're not taking my job.
Oh, did you see?
I will take her out.
Sticks because he gave it to her.
Yeah.
She was like, "No, you're my favorite drummer."
Right. Too funny. Too funny.
Love me some Foo.
No, it's funny. I like the Foo Fighters, but they're not in my top 10. Oddly enough.
You know, for me, they're like, that's why I associate them with Tom Petty. Like, I can listen to Foo Fighters, and there's songs that I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is awesome, and sing along.
Yep.
And then there's songs that I do that with Tom Petty, and then the other rest of the album, I'm just like,
whatever. Yep. There's only certain songs that you're like, oh, this is a good one.
But I will say, Foo Fighters are one of those bands that, like, when they release an album, they have at least 1 or 2 songs that you hear
all the time.
And most artists don't do that.
No. And the thing is, it's not radio stations playing favorites. They just have songs that are good. Right. You know what I mean? Like, you can tell you can tell when a radio station has a favorite band because they put some crap on, and you're like, this is horrible. And you know what's funny is that whole dynamic's gone now anyway. Like, when was the last time you listened to the radio? Like, I've listened to the radio in my car a lot. But because our CD players is on the fritz. Other than that, though, it's like CDs. I can throw in some kind of
they have like Foo Fighters has like the Beatles thing where they write something, they're like, this is a hit. I know this is a hit.
Yeah.
Like this song it's a hit.
It's funny that you should say that because I was watching last night. I was watching Smashing Pumpkins lead singer Billy Corgan. Billy Corgan was on Rogan, and he was talking about the fact that when he was making music, because basically music's in a bubble. Unlike comedy.
Right.
Comedy, like most stand-up comedians don't know what they're going to do in their set until they create it and they perform it and create it and perform it and create it and perform it 20 or 30 times. Now, music's opposite. Music's like you put it out or you create it all and then you put it out to the world. And Billy Corgan was saying, and he said at the time, he's like, yeah, this sounds really like egotistical, but he's like, I was making songs and I knew while I was making the songs that these things would be big because of what had happened previously. But then he got to a certain point, and the way the music industry is, basically you have a whole bunch of yes men around you or yes women. And basically no matter what you do, oh, that's the best, Billy, that's the best. And he's like, at a certain point, he just lost his objectivity. And he was like, I couldn't tell what was good or what sucked. And he ended up working with Rick Rubin, who is like, if I had a person that first of all, I'm sporting the Rick Rubin beard. If there was Rick Rubin's in my top 5 people that I want to meet. I mean, my top 5 has changed because of deaths, believe it or not. Like I have people in my top 5, I'm like, can't meet that guy anymore. But Rick Rubin has been in my top 5 since the 80s, since the first release of the Beastie Boys album. I'm like, I have to meet this guy that produced the Beastie Boys and LL Cool J and Run DMC, and then now it's Johnny Cash, and just go down a list. I mean, there's almost nobody that he hasn't worked with. And you know that he is the kind of guy that you'd want to hang out with from the perspective that all of these eccentric artists are like, dude, he's cool. You know what I mean? Like and producing an album is not, I don't know. It's not a fun time. Easy. Like it's no.
Thank you for watching this segment of the TP Show. Please follow us on Fruit Lab. Don't forget we have a podcast on your favorite podcast app. This has been another installment of the TP Show.